Welcome back. Now, having rooftop solar has become less onerous. Eskom has dropped the need for homeowners to have rooftop solar systems inspected and approved by a professional engineer, coming at an additional cost of roughly 30,000 Rand in registration fees. Wayne Duvenhage, CEO of OUTA, joins us with more detail. Wayne, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. Now, Eskom, of course, dealt with a lot of criticism for some of these solar registration rules, and I guess the relaxing of some of the rules coming as a welcome for OUTA as well as consumers.
Yes, I think there we need to give kudos to Eskom for engaging with civil society. We've had a number of meetings with them, some of them been very lengthy with their management, expressing some of our concerns, and it's good to see Eskom engaging with civil society, taking the input seriously, going over it and changing the regulatory process and registration process accordingly. So I think it indicates that the Eskom of today is different to the Eskom of yesteryear, where it was, really taking a hard line and not really listening to civil society. And this is a good thing. I think there's still more to come in this process, but we must welcome this decision on their behalf.
And, I want to get into those interactions with Eskom in just a bit. But practically speaking, what does this mean for homeowners? Will it be quicker? Will it be cheaper for the average household to go solar? Or are there still some hoops to go through?
Yeah, so certainly on this element, we felt it was overkill to have an electrical engineer sign off when on this side of the meter, compliance as far as certificate of compliance through the occupational health and safety regulations is very clear. It was sufficient from a safety point of view. And, while these rules have been in place for a long time, they've not enforced them, and thousands of households and small businesses have installed solar, and there haven't been problems. So they've come around to the fact that this compliance by an electrician that is registered, properly registered, is sufficient. So that's a cost reduction, and it's an ease reduction, because when you install these systems, you need to have a compliance certificate. So they're doing it anyway, and that's good enough. We believe, though, that the discussions we're still having with them is around how do we ensure that households have the flexibility of choosing the rate when there is a rate to be chosen, the tariff, that they can stay on either prepaid meters or not. And I think Eskom are realizing that requirement as well needs to be revised, because and the deadline potentially, because there's less than 6 months' time that deadline comes to effect, and rolling out smart meters, which is a good thing, is going to become a bigger issue in this regard. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
And let's zoom in on that conversation around the smart meters. Some are worrying that Eskom could use them to control usage and introduce new charges. Do you share the same concerns, Wayne?
Yeah, look, there's a big debate and a discussion on this whole energy ecosystem. If you become a producer of energy and you can push it back into the grid, then there's going to be some issues. You cannot do that without a smart meter. But those who don't want to push it back into the grid, and they can't if they have a prepaid meter, and just want to go and introduce some solar to reduce their reliance on, and high costs and reliance on Eskom, is where this contentious issue is. And of course, if you have a home flex tariff, which benefits all of us, it's time of usage, use less electricity when it's under pressure. If you've got washing machines, pool pumps, put them on when it helps you reduce your electricity consumption. But some people want to stay on a prepaid meter, even though it's at a fixed rate. They know what they're paying for, how many units they get. And they should not be pressurized or into having to switch meters. And if they are pressurized, then the cost of that should be borne by Eskom or the municipality, and not by the consumer. And that's one of the contentious issues that is coming to play now.
Yes. And that was going to be my next question around, areas where municipalities are the ones that then control power distribution, and how confident you are when it comes to applying rules fairly across the country.
Yeah, and we've got to be very careful. Exactly. It needs to be fair, but you also need to be very careful that you're not prejudicing the poorer household, the poorer communities. You get indigenous communities that get electricity for free, but you get poorer households or medium-sized households that want to put solar into their energy system, but not be subjected to these. What we see now is this massive ramping up of fixed costs, which now become part of the electricity bill. Instead of just paying for the electrons, now you're paying for the fixed costs. Now we know that you have to contribute to the infrastructure. That's where the fixed cost comes in. But municipalities who are being poorly managed and aren't even paying their bills to Eskom are part of the problem. And so you've got to start asking yourself, what is the modus operandi? What is the real objective of municipalities going down this road? Because we can see there's so many municipalities going to all have different bylaws, and it's going to become a bit of a mess. And they're going to try and follow Eskom's rules, but they're not going to apply them in the same manner. And that's where we've got to be very careful to protect people on municipal grids from being abused by municipalities, which they are in their tariff structures going forward.
And we'll be watching that really closely and perhaps catch up with you again to just discuss some of your interactions as civil society with Eskom. Wayne, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. That was Wayne Duvenhage, CEO of OUTA.